Hi everyone, I'm Nikita. Welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of the placement preparation journey, and today I'm going to share some tips and tricks on how to go about giving the interviews. And without further ado, let's get started. Tip number 1, ask questions. Whenever you get a coding question, do not start coding up the solution instantly. Rather, discuss the assumptions, the constraints, and the edge cases with the interviewer, because this will make the interviewer understand that you are able to think through the problems clearly rather than coding a half-baked solution. And even in real life, as a software developer, whenever you are working on a project, you are first expected to think about the challenges that might come up, and then you decide the architecture, and then you end up coding the solution. Also, make sure you have time to dry run the code and dry run your code for different inputs so that you can prove to the interviewer that your solution is robust and works for different types of inputs. Tip number 2, showcase your knowledge. Whenever you're answering questions, also mention the terms, because this will help you control the flow of the interview. If you have left the field open for the recruiter, then he or she might ask something that you do not know, and no matter how well you prepare, there will always be something that you missed out. So it's better to have the flow in your control, and make sure that whatever terms you are mentioning, you know about them very well, otherwise you will be stuck in your own trick. So I'll give an example. If you are asked a question related to union find algorithm, mention the term tree compression when it comes to optimizing that solution. So keep mentioning these loose ends, and that will prompt the interviewer to ask a follow-up question on that. Tip number 3, do not over-explain. The interviewer does not have the whole day to listen to you, so give very crisp answers, but as I mentioned earlier, keep mentioning terms so that you can expect follow-up questions related to them. Tip number 4, do not panic. I've heard this from a lot of my colleagues from different colleges when they sat for HFT especially, that if you're being grilled in an interview, that is actually a positive sign, because that shows the recruiter is interested in understanding the depth of your knowledge and your problem solving skills when it comes to solving complex problems. So maintain your confidence and try to come up with the best possible solution. Also, an interview is not meant to be a question and answer round, it is meant to be a discussion. So have a good discussion even if you are not able to come up with a concrete solution. Ensure that you have a good discussion around how do you go about solving the problem. Tip number 5. When you're answering questions related to behavioral round, think about what all qualities the recruiter might be looking for, say teamwork, delegation, empathy, and frame your answers accordingly. When you are describing a situation, do not focus on the details of the situation. Focus rather on how did you take on that leadership role, or how did you stand up for yourself because you knew that was the right thing to do. Also, if you get an opportunity, talk about your accomplishments and your experiences outside of academics. Be it you went on a trek with friends or you participated in a dance competition, because that presents you as a holistic personality, and the intent of a behavioral round is for the interviewer to understand what kind of a person you are, and if by the end of the interview he or she is still not sure about you, then that is going to win negatively in your final result. Tip number 6, do not mess up your GPA. Your seniors will tell you, even my seniors told me that GPA does not matter, but let me tell you, it actually does. If there are two candidates who have performed equally well in all the interviews, all the rounds, then how do you tip off the balance if you have only one slot available? And it comes down to the most basic criterias, and GPA is the first one. So make sure that you maintain a good GPA, because a GPA might not be a reflection of your knowledge or how good of a software engineer you are, but it is definitely a reflection of your sincerity and your consistency. Some other points that I would like to share with you guys is that, first of all, a lot of people are confused with what language they should be coding on. So my suggestion is that go for C++ or Java, because in a lot of online assessments, Python gets blocked. At the same time, if you want to do competitive coding, you can go for C++. Second thing is that if you are someone who finds it difficult to maintain consistency and who finds it difficult to study all by yourself, pair up with a friend, maintain a common sheet, do the DSA questions regularly, and update your sheet. That will keep both of you on your toes, and it will help you in your preparation. Make sure that you're using meaningful variable names that are self-explanatory, because that will first help your interviewer understand your solution, And when you are dry running the code, you don't have to go back and see what that variable meant while you were coding up. So it will be easier for you as well to dry run the code. The next step is first mover advantage. If you have the opportunity to go first or earlier in an interview, take that. Because a lot of times the companies, they shortlist a lot of candidates, and once they have decided which ones they want to hire and their slots are already filled, they might not even continue with the recruitment process. So even if you were shortlisted, your interview might not be taken and you were just kept waiting the whole day. Because trust me, this actually happened with a lot of my friends during the placement season. So that was all. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments what next do you want to hear from me. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.